Welcome to Vibes and Affirmations,
Where
there's a thin line between crashing out and keeping it all together. I'm your host, G. Your favorite words of reason and sometimes chaos. And today we're joined with a special guest. Ari's in the motherfucking building.
I'm so happy to be here.
Some might not know, but you're actually a producer to Vibes and Affirmations. So when I thought of my first sit-down guest, I thought of you.
Aww.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm here to vibe. First of all, I'm a listener. I love listening to the podcast. It's a great thing because, when you're working, you need to listen to something. I don't know. I can't really be on my phone while I'm working because, you're scrolling and working at the same time. It doesn't really work. So listening to those podcasts is good. When it's your friend, it's even better. It's like I'm listening to a familiar voice and it makes you feel safe and calm and, it's good. So you guys really need to tune in.
The fun part is that she actually gets to listen to it first. So before I even drop it, when it's fresh, she listens to it first and she gives me her take. And I like that. Today what we're going to talk about is something that is not for the faint of heart. Before that, though, we start this with an affirmation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 affirmations. And based on how you feel in today, you're going to give me your vibe. That's cool?
I like that.
All right.
Let's do it.
The first affirmation is my peace isn't heavy. It's just not cheap. That's 1. 2 is my energy is a privilege, not a project. And number 3 is the version of me you meet depends on the version of you that shows up. So based on the 3 affirmations you just heard, what is your vibe today?
I think the second one.
My energy is a privilege, not a project. So repeat after me. My energy is a privilege, not a project. I know that's right. And why did that resonate with you today?
I think that resonates with me a lot because sometimes we hear the word project, right? We think, oh, I need to work this person up or I need to make this person better. But sometimes project also means people overanalyzing you, right? And trying to tell you who you are and what you're doing. And I was just having a conversation with one of my closest friends recently about how as adults, it's important to not take advice from your friends because we're not all we're not all in the same space that we want to be, right? So if
that's a hot take.
It is already a hot take. Okay. You know why?
Can we break that down a little bit more? What I understood was that some of your friends are not where you would want to be in life.
Not just some of my friends, people in general, period. Let's say me, myself included. I grew up in a broken home, I didn't have a mom and dad household growing up. I can't give someone the best advice.
You feel like you can't get advice when it comes to love? Is that what you're saying?
Even just me, I can't give the best advice to someone because I can't put myself in your shoes because I don't know what you've been through in life. It really depends on the person. You can have a relationship, right? And tell your friends what you're going through and what you're dealing with, the more important things. But the little things, those little arguments, he didn't do this or he didn't do that. You can sometimes grasp the wrong advice because you're asking the wrong person. And it's not because you're asking the wrong person in a sense to where they don't have the best advice, but they don't have the best experience. Wisdom is key.
I agree with you to the sentiment of where you can't make an informed decision based on what you see.
Yes.
Right? Because although we might not have walked the same paths, that can lead us to make decisions or give the best advice. I also do think that you can use your thoughts and your own experience to conclude what it is that the person is going through. However, yes, I do find that some people, they can't give you the best advice because they never been through something that you might have been through.
And as friends, because we want the best for our friends, we get triggered. So let's say, for example, your friend tells you, he did this and this and this to me, and you've been through that yourself.
You think it's a biased opinion.
You tell yourself, and you went through a situation where you didn't leave this person early, and you should have. And then you're going to tell your friends, you need to leave him right now.
But I get what you mean. I get the sentiment.
We have to learn it ourselves before we tell somebody. It's like telling somebody, don't walk down that road. Most people
are going to walk down the road because they like, hold on.
They want to see what's up. They want to see what's up. They want to see what's up with the road.
I agree to the fact that we can be biased because we do want the best for our friends. In most cases, or at least I will hope so.
Especially when you're very close. When you have girlfriends that are really close to you. It's almost like they're emotions become your emotions, right?
So my question to you is, would you say that your friends are more of a listening ear versus it being more so advice-driven relationships?
Well, I don't really talk about my relationships with anybody.
So it's what you've learned to not speak about your relationship.
Yes, just because of the fact that as a person who doesn't often trust myself, sometimes I don't trust what I'm thinking, right? And I can get advice that's probably going to alter my thinking in that moment, right? But then in 20 hours, is that going to really resonate with what I feel? Or is it just giving me fuel of what I feel in the moment? Because this person is triggered because they've also been through that. And they feel for me because they care for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. What you're saying makes complete sense. But then the question would be is like, where do you go, right?
Where you go is to the wisdom, the people who do have long-standing relationships, and the people who do have whatever you're looking for. Let's say you want to build a business, right? You go to the person that you see has had a long-standing business. Because you can go to people who don't have this experience and you can learn what not to do. But then where are you going to learn what to do?
But
Where are you going to get that experience from?
Yeah, but it still goes back to the point of us going back to advice period from people, whether you think that their path is the right path, you are more gravitated to one path than the other, but it's still an opinion-based path because we have not been through the same thing.
In my friend group, I've grew up with more women that have single moms and have been able to do it all on their own and succeed. But what happens with that? There comes a lot of triggers.
When it comes to partnership.
And I can relate to that myself. Your parents' traumas almost end up becoming your own.
100%. I do think that is a trickle-down effect. That's what I would call it. It's a trickle-down effect. It's a trickle-down effect of what your parents have been through that kind of mold you into the human that you are today. And whether you want to participate in that energy or not, you're still subject to what you were taught and what you have experienced, whether it's nature versus nurture. Yeah. I completely agree, but I don't think that it has to be the defining issue of your life, right?
It doesn't have to be the defining issue, but that's exactly the point. You can't let an opinion be the defining issue of your life.
100%. I do think that your friends make you biased. They do, but they're supposed to.
And it's important to get advice based. I think the best way to ask your friends for advice is you. Because they know you. They don't know your partner.
Yeah, like based on your own
your family. They know you for you. So that the best thing that you can ask your friends is, what should I do for myself? Or what would you see me doing in this situation if I wasn't
like in the perspective of, but it's still bias, right? I think advice and even what you learn is kind of comes from a biased place, just because it's still knowledge that is passed down.
Everything
that's my
biased.
argument.
And that's
where I disagree with you, right? Because it's like, even if you go to someone who is more experienced, quote unquote, you're still taking advice from someone in general, right? Based on their perspective. But yes, someone that knows you and is closer to you, it is likely to have your back, therefore can be narrow-minded to your experience.
And it's not even about having your back. It's about being in a space where you learn so many people who don't have the example of the right relationships or the ideal relationship, because ideal could be subjective, right? Me and you are in this relationship and we love each other for this and that. And ideal could be different for somebody else, right? But it's really about like what makes you happy, what makes you feel good. And a lot of people, when they're giving you advice, they're not taking that into account, especially because they love you so much that they want to protect you. They don't want you to go through because they've been through it.
Right.
Sometimes, like, my mom is like this sometimes, where she almost kind of minimizes my experience.
She fear mongers you in terms of like, because she doesn't want me. I agree with that. It's a human response.
It is a human response, but it's an empathetic response.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I love this person so much that I don't want you to go through what I went through.
What I could have possibly went through.
Or know what I went through. Because when you went through it, it's like, I don't ever want you to go through this. And that's where you fight the most. It's like, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. And I have been through this issue myself. I used to do this to my friends. I used to like stop talking to friends because
they decided to do
they
something that you
decided to
didn't
do
agree with.
something that I didn't agree with, or decided to date somebody that I didn't agree with. But is that right? No. The best thing that you could do is support your friend no matter what.
No matter what. But then again, right? I'm gonna get to the truth and the hot take, because we're going off topic, but this is a really good conversation. Just because you have to let people be who they are, because they're gonna do what they want regardless of what you think is right.
Yeah.
And I think that on the side of peace and like peace of mind mainly, you kind of have to let people be and make their own mistakes.
You do. Because that's the journey of life.
Right. So then it's like, where do you draw the line, and where do you draw the boundary with your friend when they're telling you something that they have told you 100 times? And it's like, bitch, like, ¿tú vas a coger el consejo o no lo vas a coger? Like, no, for real.
Been through that.
Me
and
too.
I've become so patient with friends. Like, you
So
can tell
you
me
never talk. So
you
that's the
can
question.
tell me the same shit 100 times,
And
and
you're
I'm
gonna
not gonna
listen.
give a fuck.
And
I'll
you're
be
gonna listen. Like,
you
if
know
it's the first
why?
time.
You know why?
Okay.
Because I think and over observe so much. I do this in my head. I don't even have the capacity of telling somebody else, yo, you think I should do this? You think I should do that? You think I don't have the capacity of doing that.
So when I share, I feel like it's because I'm really like up to here.
It's better to share though, because you're exerting that energy
and putting it elsewhere
into the world, not onto like
elsewhere.
trauma dumping.
But friends do that, right? So this is the question: when you have the friend that trauma dumps, right? How many times can your friend tell you the same thing before you're like, bitch, shut the fuck up? You're gonna go back.
Not gonna lie,
how many chances you giving, bitch?
probably like 4 breakups.
4 breakups.
Because you know it happens in intervals.
I agree. Like she might be happy.
She breaks up, and then she's happy, and then she breaks up, and then it's like at one point it's like, just don't tell me about it.
No cap. That's what I've learned. To just shut the fuck up.
You know why? Because as an empathetic person, it takes a toll on us, because we really care about.
No, and we're really consuming the information.
Yeah.
So each time that I have sat down with you and like
that's
giving
why
you
the because it's the energy.
Girl, like I've had people trigger me low key because I'm listening to their trauma, and I'm like, yo, I just went through something similar, and I kind of don't want to listen to this right now. And I let them.
And
I let them.
You're like, what the fuck do I say to you if I don't know what the fuck to say to myself?
I don't got the answers, Sway. Like
answers.
But then again, certain people just want you to listen to them because they feel so fed up with their own thoughts that they need to just express themselves. And I get that. Like that's where I'm like, yo, maybe I'll listen the 5th time. But it's also like, where do we draw the line of like, yo, until you choose to change and until you choose to leave, you're still going to be in the same predicament that you were yesterday. And that's unfortunate because certain people go through certain traumas that they have no control over. Like if you're a domestic violence victim, it varies, right? I want to preface that by saying that at a certain point, you don't have a choice because it's harder to leave.
And not only that, there's moments in life where you want to ask for help, but you're scared to see like, oh, what will my friends say? What will my husband say?
I think that's more embarrassment.
And that's why we as people need to hold more space for domestic violence victims.
Agreed.
Just instead of saying like, even posting on Instagram or Twitter, like seeing a celebrity going through this and saying, oh, she should have left a long time ago. Like imagine your followers that are going through domestic violence.
That's way easier.
That are seeing that. And they're like, I'm going through this myself. So it makes it even harder for them to leave.
I feel like this was a great icebreaker. We broke the ice, even though we don't need to break no ice because we already know each other well. But I want you to pick truth or hot take. Truth. Okay. When was the last time your energy felt misunderstood?
The last time my energy felt misunderstood was at work.
How so?
Well, I was working with a couple of people who pretty much didn't see the value in me.
Okay.
I see the value in myself. Very much so that sometimes people are like, bitch, who the fuck do you think you are? And I'm like, I am who I think I am.
Right.
So for me, I was working somewhere where I was like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. What's in it for me? And they're like, yeah, you're working here. That's what's in it for you. And just
it wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough for me. But they misunderstood my value and where I was coming from, because it was more like, oh, you're doing what everybody else is doing. But I wasn't doing what everybody else is doing. I was doing more than everybody else is doing. So for me, it was more like, okay, if you don't see the value in me, then I'm out.
I'm glad you were able to recognize where you weren't valued and was able to distinguish that and like move on and move forward. Because look at that, like that one detail actually excelled you 10 times more than you could have ever imagined, right?
And sometimes when you have people around you that misunderstand you, you might misunderstand yourself more.
I agree. I think it comes from a place of confusion. And I find that you start to question yourself when people misunderstand you. Because you're like, wait, am I bugging the fuck out?
To the point where now where I'm at now tells me like, I will never do that to you. This will never happen to you. Like we do this here, we do that here. So it's like that's when you know you're misunderstood, when you get the appreciation or like feedback from somebody else that you were looking for from that person.
That you were no longer getting wherever you were. No, yeah, I feel like most of the time we're not bugging in terms of how we feel or where we don't belong anymore. Sometimes it's okay to not be in the same space that you were when you started something.
Yeah.
And it's recognizing that and being able to move forward without no sense of regret or bitterness towards the situation. It's easier said than done sometimes.
It is.
And it's scary.
It is scary, but I've changed locations so many times in like the past 6 years. I can leave one day tomorrow and be like, yeah, I'm here.
You think you'll be fine?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah, survival.
I have no fear of fucking location change.
Yeah, that's good. That's actually a really good skill because a lot of people fear change. They fear.
But I fear that. That's what I fear the most, and that's why I lean into it.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot
because anxiety is just a mental thing.
Yeah,
right?
mental.
And like it's like when you're scared of heights, right? And then you take your first
flight,
right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh. I love this shit. I want to do it again.
Yeah. Once you be something that you fear, I believe that I forgot the part of your brain that expands.
Neuroplasticity.
Maybe right?
Yes.
Okay. The neuroplasticity expands.
When you do the things that you don't want to do, and when you do the things that you fear. Yes, I send you that TikTok. When you do the things that you don't want to do, and when you do the things that you fear, is when you grow more neuroplasticity. And your brain, you actually live longer.
It's easier to be safe. It's easier to feel safe, or to be comfortable, to be stuck in a situation where it feels like the norm.
Yeah.
Than it is to you to go to a brand new place, meet brand new people, and expose yourself to things that you would normally feel like it's not who you are. And I think that that's like the biggest test that we can do as people.
Exactly. Right? I agree with you 100%. Yeah. I think the biggest test, even as a person who has social anxiety, if you have, I have a lot of social anxiety.
Like, I would have never guessed.
Because you're one of my best friends, you know? Like, I know you. I'm never going to be...
Unless you put her anywhere, she's going to talk to a stranger.
Very
lying.
True. Very true, but I'm not going to lie. Sometimes, like, when I'm secluded with not my friends...
Okay, with people that you never met. Maybe.
Yeah. Like, when I'm around people that I don't know, I'm like, more... And, like, my boss tells me that she's like, you're so shy.
And I'm like,
you don't know me. You don't really know me yet.
Yeah. But I think that in work environment is a little different than like a social environment.
Once I get comfortable with her, yeah, she's going to be like, oh, that's a realist. Like, we know who she is.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have more social anxiety with people who don't know me because I have more of a fear of like caring about what people think of me.
That's fair.
Because I'm older now and I'm more aware.
You have to think about certain things before you do them. I think it goes perfectly into the clip that you had sent me. So Ariella sent me a clip on TikTok that I want to discuss today. I'm going to play the clip for you guys, and I'm going to also play it for her right now. So just want you to I want to refresh your memory a little bit.
Yes.
The clip basically says some people aren't rejecting you. They're rejecting the work that it would take to be in your energy.
I sent it to her because she is going through a very pivotal moment in her life where she's been through all different aspects, but I feel like this will be her spiritual moment in life, her spiritual phase in life. And now she's realizing how vulnerable she is and how vulnerable people aren't.
I agree.
And I think that I can resonate a lot with her in that because when I was growing up, I always used to be like that. It was like, oh, you're not vulnerable with me. You're not vulnerable. And people didn't get it. And seeing her go through this journey, I feel very compelled to hold her hand, not because she needs me to, but because not everyone's going to be as vulnerable as you.
I appreciate that. I really do. I really, really, really appreciate that because I agree. I think you mentioned this briefly, not in this conversation right now, but you did mention that I've always kind of been this person.
Yeah.
Of course, I've evolved into the adult that I am today, but for the most part, I always thought things through, and I always been a very quote unquote deep thinker.
Yeah.
And I'm not for the weak. I always said this. I'm not for the weak minded. I'm not for the weak.
Listen, if you have a faint heart, don't listen to his advice.
It might
make you cry at night, but you need to to hear that advice sometimes.
Yeah, you said something like, I'm the type of person that echoes in your head, and I didn't realize that, right?
You
like,
do echo in my head a lot.
I didn't realize that. Like, I don't
But that's why I
realize
tell you
that.
those things, because a lot of people tell you that because they forget to tell you.
A really good point of view, because I never, like, I've heard it, and it makes me think of actually how I grew up, right? Like my grandparents, my mom, and like the people that are always in my head.
Yeah.
Right. So when, and you know, it's crazy, when I started this, what I really wanted to do was resonate. And I'm glad that you said that, because it gives me a good feeling.
You've always resonated, because we can all resonate with your emotions. It's easier to hear you because you're giving us the words that we might not be able to put together. We're not able to put those thoughts together, you know? And sometimes like that's why I feel this way, or oh, I'm not the only person who feels this way.
I really, really like that. And I'm really, really glad that I am that person for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Of course, I love you. Thank you for being here. We had a few glasses of wine.
Yes, it's okay.
No, but let me play this clip for you, girl.
Okay, I think it's time we realize that some people aren't actually rejecting you. They're rejecting the work that it would take to be in your energy. Okay. See, your energy asks for honesty. Your energy asks for presence. Your energy might also ask for accountability. And it exposes where people aren't willing to meet themselves. And that can feel uncomfortable for many people, for many types of people. And some people just aren't ready to do the work. So instead of leaning in and doing that work, they pull away. And what do they call it? Incompatibility. But it's not that you're too much. It's that your energy requires awareness. Not everyone's ready to face what that brings up in them. You just have to understand that you carry a frequency that can't be sustained by half-hearted effort or even surface-level connections. To be in your space means to be real. To be in your space means to be intentional. And that's work. That's work that not everyone is willing to do. So no. They didn't reject you. They rejected the version of themselves they'd have to become to stand next to you.
So first, I want to just ask you, what part of the clip resonated with you the most?
I think the part of the clip that resonated with me the most was the last part, like you said. Sometimes people are not, they want to be around you, but they're not ready to be around the part that is healed. Let's say, for example, you could be in middle school, high school, you could be this unhealed person, drinking, smoking, whatever you're doing. You could be doing anything. You could be writing poetry excessively. You could be doing something. And then you have these friends that love you and care for you. And then you go into a journey when you're in college, right? And you go into this different journey that your friends might not be privy to, right? They don't understand what's going on, right? They don't understand that journey. They might respect it, right? Because they're your friends, right? But they're like, we don't know what this is, right? It comes to a moment in life sometimes where we evolve so much individually, where you come back to a group of people and it's almost like we don't know who you are. Well, because I've evolved. I'm here now. And it's not about being in levels.
You know what I really like? Sorry to cut you off, but what I think you're saying is certain people can't meet you in certain phases because they haven't met themselves that deeply, right?
But you have this phase and they're like, oh, well,
you're changing, maybe.
You're changing and you're this and you're that. And it's just like, I'm not changing. I'm becoming better and I'm going to give you insight. But sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And it's because you could be in a moment where you're pivoting in life, succeeding, trying to just stay home more, do more at home, you know, study, whatever the fuck it is. And people are like, well, you're not coming out. Well, you're never around. Well, you're never not doing this.
You feel like it's people take it as a personal attack. You being at a certain stage in your life can mean that.
And
not
that's
personal
anybody.
Attack, but that's in general,
because I don't
right?
take it like, for example,
right? Like, what makes you think you're better than me?
I have great friends, and none of my friends, you don't do this.
Yeah.
Do this to me, where they feel like you are not with us. You are doing that.
Like, yeah.
No, my friends. I have amazing friends, and they let me do my own thing. But I've seen other people go through this, where it's like, well, you can't meet me at my capacity because I'm at a different capacity. And it's like, we all go through different phases. And the older you get, the harder it is to meet somebody in their exact phase.
I wanted to say something more so about accountability. You think that there's pressure to be accountable though, to where you haven't evolved yet? Like,
yeah, of course.
You think so? But I think that that's the tough part. I think
that's the tough part, and I think that's where an evolved person decides whether or not they want to be friends with this unevolved person.
So the question is, do people mistake accountability for pressure?
That's a really good question. Accountability and pressure could intertwine. There's a thin line between that.
Yeah, because you want someone to be accountable. Which one you think is worse?
Taking your own accountability is better than having people pressure you.
What if you haven't met yourself there, even with your friendship? What if the person hasn't evolved into
and giving you what you want?
What if they haven't even discovered our world? Yeah, like what if they haven't even discovered themselves that deeply? Then what do you do then, right? Do you stay down in a situation where you feel you express yourself and they don't have this accountability, or even there's certain cases where they
gonna express myself once?
You think so in a relationship? I doubt that. I doubt it.
In a relationship, I'll probably express myself way more, but in retrospect, we only want to explain ourselves once
100%.
Before something happens that we don't want to happen. When you're in a relationship, it really depends on where you want that to go. Do you want that to be long term, or you want to put yourself first no matter what? Because putting yourself first also has to do with figuring out what commitment you want to take with the relationship that you're in. That's the most important thing about putting yourself first, right? How committed you are in this relationship. And that's where you draw the line of what you want to do and what you don't want to do for this person.
Do you feel like having emotional awareness or being too assertive can be considered a little too much for the person sometimes?
Depends on who it is, yeah.
Right?
If there's an unevolved person, they're going to say, yeah, you're too assertive, you're too this. The worst thing you could say to somebody is that you're too assertive or you're too communicative. The best thing you can do in a relationship,
because
don't tell me that.
Don't tell me that.
In any
don't
relationship,
tell me I think too
friendships.
Much. You know that would do it for me, right? I've cut people off because they told me I think too much.
I think that's the worst thing you could do.
Because like, that means to me they don't think enough.
You're basically telling me don't think about our relationship.
Like, what do you mean I think too much?
Like, okay.
You don't think enough. I'm sorry. I've realized that people are stupid.
And then that's when you realize the people who don't deep think and the people who do,
or people that
are deep thinkers.
No, but then again, let's say in this scenario where everything is ideal and the person is immature, but they still find you a bit too assertive or a bit too much, quote unquote. That's what I'm saying. Like, it could be. I think it could be. That's probably never gonna be the person
for me.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, if you're gonna tell me I'm too much, then
you're not for me.
Because I'm always going to be too much.
Right.
And that's because I'm going to deep think and I'm going to make the deeper analogies that not everybody might do, right? But yeah, that's me. I'm not going to have a surface level relationship with nobody, especially somebody who I'm sleeping with every night. When you're really in a relationship and you're sleeping with them every night, you don't want to have a surface level relationship. There's people who are married that do not talk to each other, that sleep with each other every night, that don't know what they do with each other. They don't know what they do all day. They don't even know what they do
at that point, they're roommates.
Exactly.
Roommates. People have roommates.
Live with somebody like that you can't communicate with? No,
not at all. Even like let it be one of those things where you're my best friend. Even if it doesn't work. Even if it doesn't work, at least we have the communication. Because what would drive me nuts is not being able to express myself and that you understand me.
Me and Brian could be mad at each other and he'll be like, "How's your day at work?"
Right. Like,
how was your day at work? Like, I'm mad at you, but I'm still gonna ask you.
I'm still considering. Yeah.
And what that's
and that will crack the ice too.
Exactly.
When you're
that's an icebreaker.
Like you're trying to be like, oh, hey.
How's your day?
Talk to me, bitch.
And I feel like that's something that's really important in relationships, to icebreakers.
Being able to be the bigger person, or not being mad that you have to be the bigger person.
Committing to making things right.
Right. So how do you personally protect your energy without feeling like you're isolating yourself?
Oh my God, that's so good of a question, because I do isolate myself a lot. I isolate myself a lot, but I may not be able to answer that question because I haven't answered that. If I was to answer that question, I think the best way to manage that is reach out to people as much as you can. You know, sometimes we're like, oh, well, no one wants to hang out with me, but you wouldn't know if you didn't hang out. You reach out to your friend.
Carry minds too, right? A lot of our decisions in life
Yeah.
are based off assumptions.
Yeah.
And most of the time you're so in your head. This is coming from someone who's an
Especially
overthinker.
millennials.
Yeah, I think I'm an over, and then you're not used to expressing yourself in a certain way. And I find that a lot of our overthinking has to do with what we think another person thinks. But remember, you do not know what anyone is thinking, whether you think you do or not. I'm always 90% right.
Right.
But there's always that 10% where you genuinely do
Yeah.
not know what someone is going through.
Yeah.
So like if you don't bring up this topic or you don't bring up the conversation or you don't bring up the questions, how are you gonna really make a decision or assume that the person can be there for you, right? But I do find that there's so much peace in being alone.
Yeah, there is a lot of peace in being alone.
Right? And not even being alone in terms of like not being in a relationship or not having friendships, but being able to sit down with your shit and being able to have a thought process where, like you said, it's not clouded by your friendships. It's not clouded by what another person might think.
I think it takes a lot of discipline as a person to just have that overall. When you're growing up, especially when you're like growing up with a lot of friends, you have people telling you, well, I think you're doing this or I think you're doing that. It gives you something to pull from.
I agree. I do agree. I don't think that you should go through everything by yourself if you don't have to. If you don't have to.
And the more you isolate, if you're around friends, they'll be like, where are you? What are you doing?
If you're around the right people, they'll look for you.
Yeah, they'll look for you.
They'll look for you.
And even if you want to isolate yourself, you have to give yourself that moment of like, well, maybe I could go to the bar or maybe I could do this. I think solo dates are very important. Like, even me, I'm in a relationship. I go on solo dates all the time.
Yeah. That's my
I've been in a
favorite thing to
relationship
do.
for 3 years. I go to the library by myself.
You knew when I realized I was gonna be okay. When I was able to sit down anywhere. Like I love myself most. And I mean that shit. When I say that, I mean it. I could be anywhere and you're gonna catch me with a drink, possibly a hookah and some dinner by
I get
myself.
excited to have those moments. Like I think about weekends, like, oh my God, I could go do this. I could sit at the vanity and like play with my makeup that I just bought this weekend. Like, and those are the things that make relationships even closer. Because you have those moments, you know.
Okay, so I have the last game for you before you go. I like to have reflective questions at the end of every episode. I'm going to give you a sentence and you're going to finish it. Okay? So you're going to fill in the blanks.
Let's do it.
Number 1, something I've learned about my energy lately is...
I talk too much.
The kind of energy I'm no longer available for is...
condescending vibes.
Number 3, the version of me I'm stepping into feels...
just everything I want to do. Period.
I know that's right. I'm going to answer the last one. The version of me I'm stepping into feels magnificent. Magnificent.
Magnificent. Like everything.
All of the magics, you heard?
All of the above.
All right, Ariana, this has been such a great episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us today.
Can we do the outro together?
So yeah, this has been another episode of Vibes and Affirmations. If this episode resonated with you, send it to someone who you think might want to listen and sit down with their great friend and discuss this further. Stay solid.
Protect your peace.
And keep vibing.